YouTube, this is Making Mommy. I would like to apologize. I know this update is coming a little bit later than I expected. I meant to do it on Saturday and then my darling husband, Captain Code, was home, and I try not to do these things around him. When we started trying to conceive again, I gave him the option of being completely oblivious to what was going on, or I would update him and, tell him it was ovulation time and OPKs and all that, and he decided he wanted to stay completely oblivious, which was fine by me. So I try to make these videos when he's not home so that he doesn't really tune in to what's, like, what time of cycle it is and that kind of thing. So he was home, and that made it really difficult on Saturday, and then he was home again on Sunday, and then his best friend was over here last night on Monday, so it just kind of got pushed to tonight. He's working a little bit late. Anyway, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of history on Captain Code and I. We have been going out 3 years as of October 12th, and we got married on October 10th of this year, 2010. The morning of our wedding, we signed papers for our first home, and I'm going to strip a little bit here on you. We signed the papers for our first home, and everything was official and finalized, and that was great. And then closing happened while we were on our honeymoon. So we signed the papers the morning of our wedding, we did our wedding, and then we went to our honeymoon, and the day we got back from our honeymoon, we got the keys. Everything went through, everything was finalized, we got the keys, and then we started moving in that day. Like I said in the last video, we had a loss in 2008, and that was in March. After that, I had had a loss before because I missed a birth control pill, and my doctor had told me not to worry about it. Just a little word to the wise: if you are not trying to conceive and you miss a pill, go get Plan B. Don't just keep on going with your pack and not worry about it. Anyway, this baby that I was going to have with Captain Code was a complete birth control dysfunction. I had done everything right, and I still got pregnant. So I was one of the lucky 0.001% or whatever it is, 0.03, or I don't even know. So I miscarried those 2 babies, and because of that, I had to do a bunch of testing to see if they could find out why I wasn't able to keep babies and what was going on. They didn't find anything except that I have cysts on my ovaries off and on, and also I have low BBTs, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And through them telling me to chart, I found out that generally speaking, I don't ovulate. I really don't ovulate except once in a blue moon. So we kept trying to conceive after our loss, and for 16 months nothing happened. We didn't have even a little bit of a hope of a baby. I got my IUD in, the Paragard, which I highly suggest if you are looking for any kind of birth control, October of last year, so that I wasn't pregnant on our wedding day, or we didn't have a baby that I had to worry about nursing and all that in a wedding dress. So we stopped trying to conceive for about a year. I got my IUD out on September 24th of this year, and the insertion and the pulling it out was painless, quick and painless. It was wonderful. I didn't have to worry about a pill every day. It was great. So I got it out September 24th, which was a day or 2 before I was due to ovulate. And surprise, surprise, I didn't ovulate. And then I got another cycle on October 9th, which, if you're doing the math here, we got married the 10th, had AF beginning the 9th. Every girl's worst nightmare, having your period on your wedding day in your white dress. Luckily, I didn't have a big old poofy white dress. I just kind of had like a nice sleek dress, but it still pretty much sucked. Honeymoon with AF. Woohoo! So we were trying to conceive again in October. I actually did ovulate, so our honeymoon baby was still a possibility. Well, it didn't happen. November 9th, I got AF, and I have some charts to show you guys. If you did the math there, that was a month-long cycle, which is, I generally have long cycles, and when I do ovulate, I ovulate really late. The earliest I have ever ovulated is CD18, earliest, which means that even if you have long cycles, my LP phase is too short. And because my temps are low, we know that my progesterone is low. So, November 9th, my AF started, and as you notice, my temps stay up through AF and then drop after. And then my temps are low, so this is 96.4 is the lowest I get, and then 97 is actually the cover line. Most people are in the 97s to begin with. So it looks like I ovulated right here on CD24. Later I found out that that actually is not true. I did not ovulate CD24. What happened was I had changed my migraine medication on CD22 and it caused a temp jump. So on December 10th, I started spotting and I was like, well, it's over. No BFP for me. I'm gonna give up, and thought AF was coming. Well, I generally have short periods, 3 days tops, and that includes 1 day of spotting at the end of my period. I never spot in the beginning. And I usually fill a couple tampons, but not a lot. I'm not a heavy flow kind of girl. Well, this period was ridiculous. It was a day and a half. I hardly even filled a tampon. It was all brown mixed with egg white serum. It was really, really odd. So I thought, well, this dip at the end must have been my implantation dip, and then the bleeding must have been implantation bleeding. So I got really excited, thinking, you know, this is so different. It must be pregnancy. It must be implantation. I was all excited about it. And so I decided to keep charting with it. And this is 2 cycles now, but I had to adjust it. So I thought this was my implantation dip, and then it rose again a few days later, thinking, oh my gosh, this must be pregnancy. This must be that. Well, it wasn't. On last Friday, so Friday the 17th, I emailed my doctor and I said, can you order me a blood test? It would have been 9 DPO. So a blood test would be able to tell how much HCG I have in my system. I went in to do the blood test late on Friday after I got off work, and the lab closed basically after I left. So Saturday morning I was going to get the results. Saturday morning I woke up really early. I was really anxious, so I took a home pregnancy test. It was negative. I thought, well, it's probably still really early. I'll just wait for the results. The HCG was lower than like 1. It was lower than 1. So obviously negative. So I adjusted my chart on Fertility Friend, meaning that December 10th was CD1, CD2 was the last day of my period, and then I had more egg white CM. Still, again, very odd for me. So then, because my temps didn't have time to drop, it looks like I've ovulated. It doesn't show you the cover line or anything on the chart, but it looks like I ovulated on CD6 right here, and then the temps jumped. Well, because the temps hadn't lowered themselves yet, I'm now in kind of a normal range for temps. So my highs right now are 97.75 to 98. And that's really abnormal for me even after O. So I'm hoping that the high temps